Hello everyone, this is Colleen Lemma, starseed astrologer and spiritual messenger from sacredsoulempowerment.com, here to do your monthly intuitive reading for March 2022. For this month's monthly reading, we'll be using the Syrian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone. And your special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Past Life Oracle cards by Brian L. Weiss. So I thought I'd do a little bit different there with these karma cards. We're going to see how that goes because we're in the sign of Pisces for most of the month, which we usually are at this time of the year, right? It's Pisces season, and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, so it feels like we're wrapping up some loose ends. We're completing some energies or situations, and we're needing to heal what we're still hanging on to that we no longer need to carry. So that's why I thought we'd try those past life cards a little bit later. But let's go ahead and take a look at what your stones of choice are going to be for that special message card a little bit later on. Okay, so our first stone of choice here is Charoite. It's about the color of my background, this beautiful purple stone Charoite. Now, this is a stone of transformation and unconditional love, and it helps with courage and self-confidence. It helps us to find our inner or internal power. It helps to activate our third eye wisdom and the idea of universal love. So that third eye, these are all kind of third eye crown chakra stones. To some extent anyway. You'll see what the second stone is here in a minute. The second stone is, this is ruby in matrix. Now, ruby actually probably is a root chakra color, right? Because it's red. This particular ruby in matrix, the ruby has this interesting and unusual color. It's kind of a purpley red color. So it makes me feel like, at least for this particular stone, that we're connecting the root chakra, matters of security or third dimensional reality, with that crown chakra of higher wisdom and knowledge. But the ruby here in the matrix, this is good for recovery from past physical or emotional trauma. Recovering from past physical or emotional trauma. This also, sort of like the Charoite, is a stone of courage, but also a stone of passion and manifestation. Helps one to reach your goals, and the energy of, let's see, what does it say here? Energy amplification? Yeah, looks like energy amplification. Pretty sad if I can't read my own writing, right? Okay, so that again, recovering from past physical or emotional trauma, courage, passion, manifestation, reaching one's goals, and energy amplification. Okay, and then this is a new stone that I picked up the other day. Actually, they're all stones I picked up the other day. But this one is, I don't know, it's just got that soft, airy, kind of beautiful feeling to it, gentle kind of feeling. This is actually titanium quartz. It's got a pinky purpley, very like light pinky purpley kind of frosted energy to it, titanium quartz. And this particular stone helps us to get in touch with universal love and self-worth, calm and clarity to our emotions. So it's probably a heart chakra stone, right? Inner peace and compassion. It helps with the release of trauma as well, and helps us to get in touch with divine love and a flow of our life force energy. So again, we have the beautiful Charoite, We have the ruby in matrix. And we have the titanium quartz. Okay, let you think about that there for a little bit. Now, let's talk about the energy of March from a numerological standpoint, right? I like to always look at that first. And so I always review that 2022, right? We have a lot of twos there, which is all about balance, harmony, equality, compromise. And twos are about relationships and partnerships. And so I feel like a good portion of this year, there's a lot to do with connecting with other people, people that we know, new people, like networking. Just feel like relationships are important on some level in 2022. This gives us the universal year of the number 6, which is about home and family, but it's also about balancing our inner life, like home and family, with our outer life, like our career and our life path. The number 6 energy is very much about nurturing, unconditional love, counseling, caretaking, emotional connections. And so again, we have this idea of emotionally connecting with other people in our lives. Now, this brings us to March because we're in the month of March. So March is the 3rd month of the year. If we take the 6th universal year of 2022 and we add it to 3, that gives us a 9 energy. And 9, the number 9 is the last of the single digit numbers. And so it is a number of completion. It's a number of endings. It's a number of healing, releasing, letting go, going with the flow. It's about trust and faith. It's creative, spiritual, artistic energies. Okay, so all of that is part of the focus for the month of March. This unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, going with the flow, faith and trust energy is part of March. But if we look at the 9th major arcana of the tarot, does anybody know what that is? The 9th major arcana of the tarot is the Hermit card. So when we think about the Hermit card, we think about being alone. And I don't mean that in a way that we're feeling lonely necessarily, but the Hermit kind of sequesters himself away, pulls back his energy so that he can go within, so that he can do some self-reflection, so he can do some meditation, so he can do some healing. And again, we're in Pisces season for a good portion of this month of March. And so Pisces being that last sign of the zodiac and tying up loose ends and bringing the energy of healing physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to those aspects of our life that it's needed. Well, the Hermit card has a similar kind of feel to it. Now, the Hermit card in the Syrian Starseed Tarot is called reflection. So here we have, again, that reflective, meditative, going within kind of quality that's suggested. We have the Hermit here with his staff and the lantern on the end of his staff, where he's lighting his own way towards the next step on his path. Or he's finding the light within himself, right? That's another definition of the Hermit card, is finding the light within yourself, going within to find your own answers, to find your inner truth, to find your inner light, and to bring light to those places within ourselves that might be cast in shadow. You know, again, places that need healing, places that need the light of the universe to come in and wash away or transmute any lower vibrational energies. But also the Hermit is lighting his own way and moving forward on his path. And he's reflecting on the past in order to get ready to move forward into the future, which comes when we move into Aries season. And we do move into Aries season on the 20th of this month, but we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, right? When we get into Aries season, then it's planting new seeds and new beginnings. And we will see some of that later on in this month. But at least for the first part of the month, for the greater majority of the month, we are in this loner, self-reflective, healing, finding your inner wisdom and inner guide sort of energy here. And we're completing old energies. We're transmuting, releasing, letting go of old energies. So let's talk a little bit about the highlights astrologically for this month of March. I'm in a weird space, obviously. So we start out the month of March with a new moon on the 2nd. And I'm only going to talk about the highlights here. But on the 2nd of March, we have a new moon in Pisces. Now, new moons are about new beginnings, but Pisces, again, is that last sign of the zodiac, and it's a time of completion and healing and connecting with Source. Connecting with your own inner light and inner source, connecting with your higher soul self, communing with your angels and guides, or with Great Spirit, God, Source Energy, Universe, all that is. I mean, Pisces rules that realm, that intangible, infinite realm of unconditional love. Right before the new moon, Mercury and Saturn come together, and I feel like this can help us to create this new idea, or kind of manifest or bring focus and form to these new ideas that we might have as we're entering this new beginning phase of the new moon in Pisces. Now, the new moon in Pisces is water. It's a water sign. It's spiritual, and especially Pisces, it's that intangible, ethereal sort of energy. So any new beginnings are first a vision. First, it's in our imagination, and we're envisioning with our third eye what these new beginnings are. It might not quite be time yet, not at the beginning of the month, for the manifestation or the focus of that. It's about kind of, again, creation and imagination and fantasy and vision and utilizing that kind of flowing sort of emotional spiritual energy. On the 3rd of March, we have both Mars and Venus connecting with Pluto. Now, I felt like that was a pretty big deal because Pluto is about death and rebirth. It's about power or empowerment. It's about transformation and change. And both Mars and Venus are very close to one another, traveling close to one another. They're the lovers, right? Mars is the divine masculine. Venus is the divine feminine. Mars rules energy and action and forward movement. Venus rules relationships, receptivity, and magnetism. And so together we have this empowerment energy that's going on. Empowerment within our relationships, empowerment within ourselves as far as how we value ourselves, which is another Venus thing. Empowerment on how we're putting energy and action towards our goals, because both Mars and Venus are in Capricorn, which is very goal and career oriented. So there's a lot of empowerment energies floating around there. And then on the 5th, Mars and Venus are moving out of Capricorn, and they're both now moving into Aquarius and coming together exactly in that 0 degree of Aquarius point, which is sort of an initiating new cycle of energy for the lovers, Mars and Venus. And being in Aquarius, it's all about the ideas, the thoughts, the perceptions, the communications, the future of where we want to go with those ideas, because Aquarius is a very future-oriented sign. And it's about the good of the whole, the good of the group, instead of the group of the individual. So the good of is what I meant to say. So, Aquarius looks for the good for the group, like what's good for the whole, or what's good for the group, or what's good for the collective, and whether that collective is all of the earth and humanity, or whether the collective is family, or whether the collective is who we work with, that kind of work family. But it's for the good of the group and the good of the whole, instead of just the good of the one. So that's kind of the energy that we're moving into. But Aquarius is very humanitarian, right? Humanitarian service to other people. It wants to be of service. And it wants to be free and liberated and independent. So all of these things now are being activated with Mars and Venus moving into Aquarius. On that same day that they do so, the Sun and Jupiter are coming together in Pisces, which I think can be very beautiful and magical and mystical and miraculous, because well, that's Pisces energy, but Jupiter rules blessings. Jupiter can bring in some sort of blessing in disguise if we are aware of it. It can be something magical and mystical that kind of comes in if you trust and have faith and believe. And then if we move ahead to the 9th of March, on the 9th of March, we have Mercury, the planet of the mind, the ruler of the mental realm, rules our thoughts, perceptions, ideas, communications, and it's moving out of Aquarius and into Pisces. So we have kind of a half and half thing going on here, right? We've got a couple planets in Aquarius, the humanitarian. We've got a couple of planets here, a few planets in Pisces now. And this is again that go with the flow, trust and have faith, let things unfold in divine timing. Listen for the messages from spirit, from your angels and guides. And Mercury ruling that mental realm, it's not the happiest place for Mercury to be, because Mercury wants to be more logical and deal with information in a thought-provoking way. But Mercury in Pisces does have its benefits. It can be very imaginative, utilize visualization techniques really well. It can move into meditation maybe a little bit easier and allow that imagination free reign to kind of flow. So it's great for like creative writing, creative projects, things like that. But when it comes to clear, concise communication with boundaries being set into place, Mercury in Pisces is not very good for all of that. So we have to, be aware of our communication with others. And if we need something, or if we need to set a boundary, it might be a little bit more tough for Mercury in Pisces after the 9th of March to do so. Maybe you need to do it while Mercury is still in Aquarius, which is the first 9 days of March. And then we're going to skip ahead to the full moon on the 18th of March. The full moon is in Virgo, meaning the moon is at 27 degrees of Virgo and the sun is at 27 degrees of Pisces, the opposite sign. So again, we're still in Pisces season, but the moon, which is reflecting that light of the sun, it's in Virgo. And that's an interesting full moon because, again, we know Pisces as ethereal and imaginative and intuitive and go with the flow, but Virgo is logical and analytical and likes information and facts and figures and organization. So it might be an interesting full moon energy when it comes to merging logic with intuition, but also because we're nearing now the end of Pisces energy with the sun, we're bringing things into completion. Full moons are about completion. Full moons are then about healing once the full moon has occurred, and we're now in the waning cycle of that moon. It's about releasing, letting go, purging, transmuting. So especially at that point, we have a big surge of this healing energy that's taking place for the next few days after. Because then by the 20th of March, 2 days later, the sun is moving into Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. So we're in a huge healing, releasing, completing time period for about the first 20 days of the month of March. And then, we'll slowly start to shift into Aries. The sun moves into Aries on the 20th. If we skip ahead to the 27th, Mercury is going to move into Aries. So Mercury moved right through Pisces pretty quickly, right? Mercury went into Pisces on the 9th, and then it's leaving Pisces and moving into Aries on the 27th, all in the same month. Really trying to catch up there with the sun so that it can initiate new ideas and plant new seeds and have this new beginning sort of energy happening. And that's pretty much where we're ending, although when we get to the 31st of March, the last day of March, and into the first day of April, depending on where in the world you live, what time zone, we have another new moon, and this time it'll be a new moon in Aries, right? So new moons, new beginnings in Aries, the sign of initiation, first sign of the zodiac, planting new seeds, new directions. What do you want to initiate in your life? What seeds do you want to plant? What new directions What new energies do you want to bring into your life? You know, that 31st of March into the 1st of April is going to be the time to set your intentions for those new beginnings. Although we can also set some intentions on the 20th of March, right? When the sun moves into Aries, which is the spring equinox, right? Spring equinox, at least in the northern hemisphere of the United States, or northern hemisphere of the world. So, of course, the southern hemisphere is moving into fall or autumn, whereas the northern hemisphere countries are moving into spring. Okay? All right, so that's a little bit about what's going on energetically, astrologically. Let's take a look at the cards, the messages that came out from our angels and guides for this month of March. So 3 cards. 3 cards came out. Sometimes more cards fall out, come out, but we do have 3 cards here. And the first card, if we turn it over, is Major Arcana number 15, the Shadow. Well, that seems logical, right? Considering we're in Pisces season for the first 20 days of March, that last sign of the zodiac, we're needing to tie up loose ends and complete energies. And whether this is about completing a situation or a circumstance, you know, bringing something to conclusion, releasing, letting go of a tangible situation, but it can also be about an energy, a way of thinking, a way of believing, a perception we're holding on to, a subconscious pattern. This also is part of the shadow energy that we're releasing, healing, and letting go of. You can see the shadow of 2 people here next to a huge spider web. And, you know, this is you not getting caught in the shadows of illusion. Don't get caught up with the shadow of your ego. Don't get caught up in the illusions that aren't clear, right? Sometimes we have fears and anxieties, but those are just the shadow side of the illusions that we're holding on to. Those aren't real. Major Arcana 15 in the traditional tarot is the Devil card, and this is about fears and anxieties that we, our ego mind, are holding on to, are experiencing, which typically is not a part of reality, okay? So this is about, again, energies that we need to let go of. A way of being, a way of thinking, a way of perceiving, an old subconscious pattern. It could be a situation, something that we no longer need to hang on to, something that's no longer good for us, okay? But it's time to allow the light to permeate. You can see just the very, very beginning hint of light here, and that'll be like the new moon in Pisces, growing up to the full moon, when the reflective light gets kind of larger and more expanded, right? So we can start to see the shadows of these illusions in the light of day if we allow it. In fact, that's a great way to transmute these shadows, these fears, these anxieties, is visualize and shine light upon them. Let the light of the universe transmute these lower vibrational energies, because you no longer need to carry them. You no longer need to hold on to them. Okay, it's time to move into a new direction, a new energy. Our life is about cycles, right? We're always going through soul cycles. The planetary energies sometimes tell us about those soul cycles and what they mean, both for the collective and for you personally, okay? And again, the fact that we're in Pisces season, we're all on a collective level as well as on some level, on a personal level, depending on whether it's situational or just, you know, energetic within ourselves. We're all going through this healing, releasing and letting go of energies that we no longer need to carry so that we can move into something new. So don't allow these fears to take hold, right? Shine the light upon them, illuminate them for what they are, send love and light to them, right? We don't want to get angry or frustrated at certain energies or situations. We want to exude love and light and compassion and forgiveness, all Pisces theme energies, because that's what's going to help to have us release this and let it go. Okay, let's look at the second card. Okay, the second card in this deck, it's called the Adept of Chalices. This is like the Knight of Cups in the traditional tarot. The Adept is the Knight. And the Knight is not the most mature of energies, more mature than the Page, but not quite the King or the Queen, or even the Queen, right? So the Knight is kind of like that adolescent energy. And right now he's in Chalices here for the month of March, which is cups, emotions, feelings. And we see an image of a man trying to swim with this huge kind of wave going on. Huge wave. I don't know if it's quite a tsunami, but this is the wave of our emotions, right? Sometimes it's difficult to deal with the emotional body and our feelings and emotions. And this person, we're trying to swim through them. We're trying to get a handle on them. We're trying to stay afloat. And, you know, he's not, I don't even know if he has a direction in mind. You know, he's just literally trying to stay afloat here as he moves through and swims through this wave. You know, you could almost say it doesn't quite look like a storm, but waves are caused by storms and high winds. So this is moving through that emotional water energy of Pisces. So we're just trying to stay afloat. We're trying to swim through it. We're trying to keep our head above water, right? Whatever that has, you know, whatever it is we're dealing with, whatever situation or circumstance. And it might not be even based in this life, right? Pisces rules past lives and past life energies. And so this emotional energy, it could be stuff welling up in the emotional body that needs to now be released and healed, that it's time to release and heal this emotional energy. So again, this could be past life related, something that's been in the cellular memory of our emotional bodies. We might have emotions coming up that we don't even know what it's tied to. And that can come out as physical things in our physical body, where we might feel aches and pains, or, you know, not just emotion, but actual physical issues in our body because of that emotional energy that's been, I don't know if you want to say trapped, but it's time to make a conscious choice to release and let that go, to move through that. And you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So it's just a matter of, I would say, calling in the healers of the light, your angels and guides, and asking that some of that emotional energy, whatever that is, old trauma energy, whatever, is transmuted. Ask them to help you bring healing to that and release that and let that go. Maybe it is just on an emotional body level. Sometimes with the Knight of Cups, there could also be somebody entering our lives, but just based on the fact that we got the shadow card and based on the energies that we've already talked about, I'm not sure if it's a person coming in or not. It feels more like it's just about the emotional energy that we're dealing with. But if it is a person, this would be like a young man who's more imaginative, creative, romantic, not necessarily grounded. So there could be a possible new relationship in the works, something that's getting ready to kind of transpire, if you will. Okay, let's take a look at the last card. Okay, so the last card, we got more of a fiery feeling kind of card, which again is right on point because as of the 20th, we start moving into Aries energy. This is Major Arcana, another Major Arcana, number 8, the Strength card. And the Strength card in the traditional tarot is called the Strength card and is often seen with a woman and a lion. This one actually has a tiger in it, which interestingly enough, remember in February, the first new moon in February, we went into the year of the tiger in Chinese astrology. So I feel like, you know, this has more than one message to it. One message is that year of the tiger that we've already entered, but because right now we're in that Pisces energy and clearing out old energies, we're clearing out old energies in order to when the sun moves into Aries and then Mercury moves into Aries, to more clearly move into that fiery, passionate, creative, take charge, roar like a lion or a tiger kind of energy. This is ending the month with more strength and confidence and courage and willpower and sense of our own power, empowerment, if you will. That tiger is roaring. He's ready to go. It's like, okay, we've released the shadow, and now we're getting ready to move into the strength, the confidence, the new beginnings. We're ready to initiate something new, and we feel all fiery and passionate about it by the time we get to the end of the month. Time we get to that new moon at the very end of March, beginning of April. So we're ending on a good note. Just know that the first few days of the month, we're doing a lot of healing and clearing and releasing mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even maybe physically, right? We need to spend some time in contemplation, self-contemplation, self-healing, self-reflection, okay? But this is where we're going, which is awesome. This is where we're going. So let's see, and this is where I don't think I've ever used the past life deck for a weekly or a monthly reading. So I'm not quite sure what's going to come out here, but I thought, if there's any past life situational energy that needs to be cleared, past life or past pattern or whatever, I guess it doesn't have to be past life, even though it's the past life deck, but we can look at it as past patterns that need to be cleared while we're, in this Pisces energy. So people that chose the Charoite people. Okay, this one's calling my attention for Charoite. So this one simply says to have trust and faith, okay? So you could have had, past life energy where you were very connected to your religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. Maybe you communed with angels or talked to angels. Maybe you do now, talk to your angels and guides and those of the highest vibration of light. But to me, this message is just saying that for this month of March, you need to just stay in that place of trust and faith, knowing that everything is working out just as it needs to, in the timing that it needs to. The hows and whys are being taken care of. You don't have to think about all of that. Right now, you just connect with spirit, connect with your spiritual and higher soul self, connect with your angels and guides, ask them for assistance when you need it, ask them for healing or to assist with healing if you need it, and just truly stay in that Piscean energy of trust and faith and going with the flow and allowing things to unfold in the way that they need to. Spirit has your back, your angels and guides, your guardian angels, the archangels, they have your back. They're assisting and guiding you as you move towards the next step on your path, as you move through this month of March. They're with you. Just stay in that place of faith and trust. I'm going to put it back in the deck. Who knows? Maybe it'll come out again. So the people that chose the ruby and matrix, okay? Let's see what your message is. Ruby and matrix, people. Special message. Okay, this one's calling my attention here. Unrequited love, okay? This usually is about you being more of a, well, I shouldn't even say it that way. One person in the relationship is giving more than the other, or the feelings aren't being returned in the same way. So this can literally mean that you're in a relationship that right now one person's giving and the other person's just maybe taking or receiving and not giving back. And so the energies aren't equal. The energies are disempowering to one of the parties because one person is the one trying and the other person maybe isn't trying as hard or isn't compromising or whatever it might be. It just means that the energies are unbalanced not equal. And therefore it leads to some disempowering situation. Now, this doesn't just mean a romantic relationship. This can be, let's say we're talking about a business partnership, okay? This means that the energies are imbalanced in that business partnership. Maybe it's a family connection. Maybe it's a friendship connection. Again, one person is giving more than the other person is. One person is giving, the other person might be more in the taking mode or not the giving back mode. Remember too that everybody's going through something. So the person that's not giving back equally might just be going through their own personal journey right now and just need some time, right? They might just need some time to give to themselves or move through something. Maybe they don't have it to give right now energetically. So know that it's not necessarily out of malice. So you have to kind of, know your situation and know what this means basically. But this can be a situation with any type of relationship to where it's just not an equal of give and take. There's not an equality going on here, which leads to one person feeling, or maybe both persons feeling, disempowered in some way, okay? So we need to, take a look at how do I best move through that energy? Do I need to also take a little bit of time for myself, or is this situation that they just truly don't want to try? They don't want to give back. They don't feel the same way, and therefore I have to move on with my life. I have to move, into a new situational energy for myself. So again, this could come out in several different ways. I also keep getting the feeling that this can also be an energy within oneself. So I'm trying to intuit what they're meaning by that. Oh, like spirit, your angels and guides love you unconditionally, right? I mean, the universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to call that higher power, your angels and guides also, they love you. The universe loves you. Maybe you're not loving yourself. Maybe you're not giving to yourself as much as the universe would like you to. The universe is always giving, especially if we ask. The universe will help us when we ask. But if we're not helping ourselves, right, that can be an imbalance of energy too, where we're not loving ourselves. We're not giving that energy, that nurturing to ourselves as well. Okay, let's see what comes out for the, what did I call that one? I know it's a quartz. That one is, yeah, that's what I thought, titanium quartz. Okay, so if you chose the titanium quartz, oh, they're saying too, the unrequited love, like there's a disconnect from your higher soul self, which is again within yourself, like you're disconnected from your own soul, your own higher soul self, which means you're disconnected from that love within yourself. Okay, so let's go to titanium quartz, the special message for titanium quartz people. Okay, this one's calling my attention. Titanium quartz people, oh my goodness. Ooh, persecution and the Inquisition. All right, so a lot of us light workers have been in those times, right? Wherever those times are in time and space, there's been many time periods where those that were the herbalists, the seers, the healers, the light workers, the intuitives, that, in different cultures around the world, there's been times in the past where we've been persecuted for who we are, the knowledge we have, the wisdom we shared, the healing that we gave, whatever. So a good many of you that got this card in this Pisces time of completion and healing and releasing of past life energies and that emotional energy that came up with the Knight of Cups, this could be about old past life wounds of being persecuted for who you were, the light that you shined out to everyone, the light that you were. the help that you were trying to give. And there's plenty of that, still going on, but I feel like less than, and not to, the extent that it was in those past times, right? There's still that energy, that feeling sometimes, and that energy. But again, depending on where in the world you live, it's not to the point of being victimized, persecuted, and killed like we were in previous lifetimes. So I just feel like your body, your mind, your spirit, yourself on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level are doing a lot of purging of this. And they're also saying that it's not the same times as it was long ago when you lived through this. So don't be afraid to speak your truth. Don't be afraid to show and share your gifts. Don't be afraid to teach the information you have. Don't be afraid to give that healing or that message. I mean, of course, it should be when somebody asks for it, but there are those times and those situations where we just feel guided, kind of sort of like gently pushed by spirit to give a message or provide some sort of love or healing energy in some capacity to someone else. Don't be afraid to do that, because the times now are different than the times then. You need to learn to speak your truth and be who you are and be confident and shining your light. And it's time to bring out and activate that light worker energy. Time to bring out and activate your gifts, talents, and abilities. Time to activate your truth, your true nature. Maybe other people are afraid to activate it, and by them witnessing you activating it and speaking your truth and being confident in who you are and sharing your gifts, it'll have a domino effect, and it'll help others to open up to their truth as well and to share their gifts, which is what this planet needs. So during the time of Pisces, ask for the healing, the releasing, the transmuting of this old energy, this old story, this old pattern, and allow a new way of confidence and truth to enter your life. All right, everyone, I hope you like this monthly intuitive reading. Make sure to also watch the weekly intuitive readings. Sending you all so much love and light and many, many blessings as we move from Pisces season to Aries, from water to fire. They both have their gifts, and I love them all. So just know that, and you should love them all too. So we'll see you next month or next week, and we will talk to you soon. Love and light, everyone.